Thank you for tuning into Bethel, BHG TV. Like, share, and subscribe. Now our host, Pastor Johnson.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. Greetings. It's been a while. I know it's been a while. It's been at least 2 weeks, but we have been coming on during the Sabbath. And I just want to say to everybody, I took a little break off. I was getting some things together, refreshing and doing all of that. But it is also glad to be back here with you all. Right here on the channel. This is IOG Fort Lauderdale. Shout out to all my brothers and sisters in the Israel of God. Shout out to Senior Pastor Henry Bowie up in Riverdale, Florida. Riverdale, Illinois, not Florida. Listen, I don't want to be anywhere near Chicago. I don't want to be anywhere in New York. I don't want to be anywhere near the Midwest. And our prayers are out to you all. That black ice is something serious. I spoke to my brother about an hour or so ago up in Lexington, Kentucky. He told me that it is -2 degrees. -2 degrees. Listen, this thing is nothing to play with. I'm glad to be in South Florida. Our prayers are with all of you all going through this winter storm that it is. The ice, stay off the roads, be careful, be safe, and what have you. But shout out to all of you all that are in here with us. And doing what you do and just hanging in here with us. If this is your first time, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, make sure you share this lesson. We got a good lesson coming to you tonight, and just to share some things with you in terms of what's going on, what we have provided to you. Now, let's go over to our chat room and just say hello to a few people over there. Sister Donna Panquin was the first in our chat room tonight. So I want to say shout out to her. How you doing, Sister Donna? Brother Benjamin, how you doing? Brother Noel Berry, Houston, Texas. IOG, how you doing, Brother Berry? Good to see you. James Smith, how you doing, my brother? Brian Israel Walker, first from our Facebook side. Brother Brother Brian Israel Walker is from the Charlotte campus. Shout out to you first on our Facebook tonight, and thank you for coming in as well. All of the rest of you, I see you all coming in. But we're going to get right to this lesson. Keep coming in. We'll say hello to everybody later on. But let's get right to this lesson tonight. But before we do, you know how we always like to do it. Let's go to our scripture reading. It's going to be found in Psalms 111, verse 10. This is what it says. It says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments. His praise endureth forever. Tonight's lesson is New Year. January the 1st or March the 30th? Which one is it? January the 1st or March the 30th? I put this out there so it could really spark some people to think. Because a lot of people are looking at the new year as being January the 1st. And no doubt in this man's system, the numerical year, when you have to write out a check, it must say 2025. That's just the way it is. That's how it is, brothers and sisters. But biblically, we're going to learn something so that this lesson you'll be able to share with other people. Many of you may have not have heard this before. Many of you all that are in the chat room, I know you have because you're regular students. But maybe this lesson you could use it to share with other people. So we're going to get into some things tonight. Um, how do we know how this man celebrated the new year? Fireworks, a ball, um, party, um, countdown, all of that. So those of us that are coming under the understanding of when the new year is according to the Bible, and we're going to get into that. Do we celebrate the new year the way this system does? We're going to get into that tonight also. We're going to take a good look at it. So there's a lot of things that's on the table, and so let's get right into the lesson. First thing I want to tell you is that we know January the 1st, the entire world celebrated the incoming new year on January the 1st, 2025. The year changed from 2024 to 2025. We know that your watches change time. We know that your cell phones change time. And many of you all that have those fancy new cars that's about 3-4 years old, even the clocks in your car change to 2025. You didn't have to do anything. It just automatically changed. We also know that man looks at the time that a day starts with man at midnight. But we're not going to get into that lesson tonight. We know that it's sundown. But we know that there was a countdown in New York, across the country, across the world, that when it struck midnight, this man celebrated the incoming new year. So the question is, we that are into the truth and understand things according to the scriptures, is it the new year? What did the Lord tell us about the new year? Did he tell us to do anything regarding the new year at all? We know that man celebrated. I mean, man had fireworks, they had parties, they did a lot of stuff. They did a lot. In fact, on my job, I worked the New Year's event because I had several departments that were doing it, working the event. So I was there. Some of you all, depending on what type of job you have, you were probably working the event on New Year's Eve. But the question is, we know how the world celebrated the incoming new year and that it was on January the 1st. The question is, on the title, I put down New Year, January the 1st or March the 30th. Which one is it? And that's what we're going to get into. I want you to take into account that we're going to go and look at where did the name January come from. Now we know that all of the names of the months, all of the names of the days of the week come from pagan god names, okay? We're going to show that to you. And we know that in the scriptures, it gives us the names of the Hebrew months, starting with the month of Abib. We may or may not get into all of that tonight, but I want to deal with when is the new year? Is it January the 1st or is it March the 30th? And Pastor Johnson, where are you getting March the 30th from? Where did you get that from? Where did you get that date from? Why is that being compared to January the 1st? And we're going to get into that. So let's go take a look at it. The first thing I want to do is getting into a subject like this. I guess one of the questions that I would have is, where did the name January come from? Where did that name come from? Well, let's go to the internet and let's take a look at it. Let's take a look at it. And this is what the internet says about the month of January. I'm going to see if I can make this a little bit bigger for you all. Maybe not so big, but let's read it. So I just put up here, where did the name January come from? I put that in the Google search, and this is what it says. January is named after Janus, the Roman god of beginnings and endings. So it came from someone by the name of Janus. Janus is a Roman god that he's the god of the beginning and he's the god of the ending. Now we know that there's only one true and living God. We know that the rest of them are pagan. They made up. They're Roman gods. They're Greek gods, and they're not alive. They do nothing. They serve nothing because they're not real. They're fictitious. Janus, as it says here, presided over doors and gates, which feels appropriate for the new year. So somewhere down the road, they decided, well, since we're going to name this month Janus, although when it happened, that particular month was the 10th month. That's what it was. It was the 10th month. So how did that even come into play? We're going to get into that in a minute. But when we look at this, January is named after Janus, the Roman god of beginnings and endings. Janus presided over doors and gates, which feels appropriate for the new year. This Roman god, he is often depicted with two faces, one looking forward and the other one looking backward. But here's something here that I noticed that in just going through this, it says, how did the months get their names? Well, let's click on that for a second. And it says, January, let me make this a little bit bigger, because we can do that. There we go. Let's take a look at this. January is named after Janus. We just read that. It says February is named after a Roman purification festival called Februa, which occurred around the 15th of the month. Februa literally means month of cleansing. That's where that comes from. I'm not going to read all of that. March is named after Mars, the Roman god of war. April, there are a few different theories about where April gets its name. Some believe that April is derived from the Latin base pro, meaning second, because it was once the second month of the year. In other words, the month in which it was named, the second month, and this is something to take note of, it was really the second month of the year. But the second month of the year, it just, in Bible terms, it had other names. It had other names, like we know Abib is the first or the beginning of the first month of the year to you. It's the first month. You can go through different scriptures. You can do Google search, and it'll give you the names of all the months in the Bible, that the names that were originally attributed to them. But they were changed. So the second month, April, was put in the name of the second month. Okay? Let's go look at May. May is named for the Greek goddess Maia. She had a son, Hermes, with the god Zeus. She is an earth goddess and a goddess of growth, which explains her connection to this springtime month. June is named after Juno, the wife of Jupiter and queen of the gods. I'm just showing you that all these names that we see, we use them because we're in a system that we have to write checks, we have to do business, we're here where we are, we're in captivity, and we have to use these names. But we're letting you know where they came from. July was the birth month of Julius Caesar, for whom the month was named following his death in 44 BC. August is the only other month named after a historical figure, which was Augustus Caesar, who was a nephew of Julius Caesar, and the first emperor of Rome. Let's go to September, October, November, and December. September, October, November, and December come from Latin words. Now check this out. This is going to be important because it's going to let you know the number of the months, or the number month in which these names were put there. So check this out. Septem, October, Novem, and Decem, meaning seventh. Septem means seventh. Oct, right here, this word here, oct, means eight, because that was originally the eighth month. Novem was the ninth month. So what people call December, and they got it as the 12th month, it comes from the Latin word decem, which is 10. It was the 10th month. So though their root meanings now make them feel out of place in the calendar year, prior to the addition of January and February, they were indeed the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th month. So September, October, November, and December, respectively, were the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th month. That's how it was. And so the names of the months are all derived from three sources. Either they came from Greek and Roman deities, Roman rulers, and numbers. So Septem and Octo and Novem and Decem came from numbers, counting numbers, and they were 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so just wanted to share that with you. Just wanted to share that with you so that you can understand where those names come from. So when people say it's the 12th month, it's not. December is the 12th month. It's really the 10th month. January took the place of, was the 11th month, but when it got its name, they switched it to it being the first month. February was really the 12th month, thereabout. It does not line up day one of the month to day one. You have to go and see when the new moon is, because the new moon, or when the new month comes, it dictates and it changes when the month started, and it's not in sync. So March the 1st is not in sync with Abib the 1st. The names overshadow. Abib may overshadow March and April, but it's not. Abib the 1st is not equal to March the 1st. That's something to know, because you have to go to find out when in Jerusalem is the new moon. And that's why it doesn't quite overlay. So sometimes Abib could be at the end of March, the middle of March. Sometimes it all depends on when the new month is. But the first of Abib could be the 26th of March. Sometimes it could be the 14th of March. It all depends on when the new month starts in Jerusalem. It could be the end of the month. It could be the end of the month, which means most of Abib would be equal to the month of April. It just depends on when the new month is. So that's something to understand. Now, somebody might ask, well, how do you know when the new moon is? Well, you have to go to what we know is to be the new moon calendar. So I got it up right here. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger for us so we could see it. All right. So when we look at this new month calendar, or this new moon calendar, there's something interesting for us to take into consideration. I'm going to move this over. If you look right here, we know January would be the 11th month. February would be the 12th month. So this year, in 2025, the new month will be right here. It's going to be March the 29th at 1:57 p.m. But Pastor Johnson, you said March the 30th, but this says March the 29th. But notice that the new moon, according to the NASA, according to, and some people say, oh, you're going with NASA. No, we're going with technology that exists. We have to use something. But in orbit, the new moon would start its new phase at 1:57 p.m. Now, you won't notice it until the sun goes down. That's when you will get the understanding that that is a new moon. So the sun must go down. So when the sun goes down on the 29th after 1:57 p.m., because the day starts when the sun goes down, which means the new month must start at the beginning of a new day. So that, brothers and sisters, sundown on the 29th will be March the 30th. That's how come when we did the lesson, is New Year. Is it January the 1st or March the 30th? It's March the 30th based upon what we see right here. So you could see it. I'm going to try to highlight it again so you all could see it, because I want you to see when it is. There it is right there. It's March the 29th, but the time of the new moon would be 1:57 p.m. So you have to start the month when the day begins, the very next following day, which would be sundown on the 29th, which will start the 30th. So the 30th is when Abib the first will be, okay? That's when it's going to be. Now, there's some other things that we got to learn from all of this. And that question would be this. Here's that question. Let me see if I put it. Did I put something else over here I wanted you all to see? I think we already did. When did January? Oh, yes. Here it is. I asked this question. I asked this question in Google. When did, let me put that up here so we can get it correct. When did January become the first month opposed to the 10th month? That was something I put in Google. I wanted to know what is documented. So here's what they have, okay? It says January, make it a little bit bigger so we can read it. And let's move it over so we could read it. And this is what it says. A little bit smaller. January initially had 29 days and came after December, which we do know. But the Roman years still started in March, because it all depends on when the new month is, when the new moon is, and it would be Abib, but it was there in that March-April range. So, but the Romans' year still started in March. In 154 BC, listen to this, a rebellion forced the Roman Senate to change the beginning of the civil year from March to January the 1st. So the question that I asked, when did January become the first month? When did they change that? When it was originally the 11th month. That's when it was. It was the 11th month. When did it become the first month? That was the question. So it says January initially had 29 days and came after December. We know December, it comes from the word decum, which is 10, but the Roman year still started in March. That makes sense, because if decum is 10, and that was in the 10th month, there's 12 months in a year, because everything is done according to the accords of Israel. 12 tribes, 12 months. Okay? So you got December, if that was the 10th, January would be the 11th, February would be the 12th. So, but in 154 BC, a rebellion forced the Roman Senate to change the beginning of the civil year from March to January the 1st. And it says, with this administrative reform, January, listen to this, officially became the first month in the year in 153 BC. And that's important to know. It's important to understand so that it's important to understand so you can understand that how did we have Decem being the 10th, and now we call it the 12th month, which is December. How did November, which is really the 9th month, how did it become the 11th month? October, which is the word octo or octagon, which is 8 sides. How was that the 8th month, but it became the 10th month? So when 154 BC, when this rebellion came, it pushed everything back. Or let's say it pushed everything up. So January now became the first month of the year. It's no longer the 11th month. It's the first month. So that's how this thing came into play. Now, let's go look at the scriptures and say, well, you saying, well, Pastor Johnson, where are you getting from that Abib or January Abib? I've already showed you how we came up with March the 30th. We went to the new moon calendar for Jerusalem for 2025. But where is this Abib? Let's go to Exodus, the 12th chapter. Where is this Abib, which is not January the 1st, it's more or less around the March, April. Where did this become the first month of the year? Well, it's right here in Exodus, the 12th chapter, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, this month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It should be the first month of the year to you. That's what it is. It's the first month of the year to Israel, okay? And that's important to know. Now I'm going to bring you some more information in just a second here. All right, let's do this just for a second. Let's do this. Let me go back to the Bible because I'm showing you. This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It should be the first month of the year to you. But where is the name? Where does the name come from according to the scriptures? We know, and I like to read it from the beginning. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, this month shall be unto you the beginning of the months. It's the first month of the year. It's the first month of the year to you. We know that there's 12 months in a year. On the way of learning something, let's learn something. The Feast of Trumpets is not the New Year. We know that the Jewish people call it Rosh Hashanah, which means New Year, but it's not the New Year. We know that. The 7th month cannot be the New Year. Only the first month, the beginning of months, is the first month of the year to you. Now let's go read this in the book of Exodus, the 13th chapter. Listen to this. Because The Lord was speaking to Moses and Aaron when they were going to be coming out of Egypt. Listen to this. Verse 3, 13 and 3. And Moses said unto the people, remember this day in which you came out from Egypt, out of the house of bondage. For by strength of hand the Lord brought you out from this place. There shall no leavened bread be eaten. Listen to this. This day came ye out in the month Abib. So Abib is the first month of the year. That's the name of it. It's not March. It's not April. It's called Abib. It's what the Bible calls it, Abib. This month came ye out in the month of Abib. That is the first month of the year. So it's not so already the lesson, we could say the lesson is over, because here it is. It's telling us. It's telling us that the lesson was January the 1st or March the 30th. We showed you the new moon and when it's going to be. It's March the 30th, and that's Abib, and it's the new year. It's the day you came out. It's the day you came out. It was in the month of Abib. Now let me show you the second month. Let's go to the book of 1 Kings, the 6th chapter. 1 Kings, the 6th chapter. 1 Kings, the 6th chapter. And let's go look. Let's go look other places. 1 Kings, the 6th chapter, verse 1. Listen to this. And it came to pass in the 480th year, after the children of Israel were come out of the land of Egypt, in the 4th year of Solomon's reign over Israel, in the month Ziph, which is the second month. So we just learned something. Abib is the first month. Ziph is the second month. Okay? So this is according to the scriptures. All right? So that much we do know. Let's go to Esther, the 8th chapter. Esther, the 8th chapter. Esther, the 8th chapter. Okay? And let's take this over to verse number 9. We're not going to read all of this. We're just showing you when it was, okay? Listen to this. This is where dealing with Esther. You all know the story about Esther. We're not going to get into that. I just want you to read this part. Then were the king's scribes called at that time in the 3rd month. That is the month Sivan. So we now know we got Abib, we got Ziph, we got Sivan, okay? Let's continue on with this. Let's go to the 4th month. Let's go to Ezekiel, the 8th chapter, verse 14. Ezekiel, the 8th chapter, verse 14. And this is what it says. Verse 14. Then he brought me to the door of the gate of the Lord's house, which was toward the north. And behold, there sat the women weeping for Tammuz. I want to make sure I got the right one. Ezekiel, the 8th chapter, verse 14. I want to make sure that's... Yes. So, it's not mentioned as the 4th month, but we know that that's when Tammuz, they were weeping for Tammuz, and that was named after the 4th month, okay? Let's go to, there's another one. It doesn't, I want to go with Elul, but Elul specifically says that it's the 6th month. So let's go to Nehemiah. Because some of them doesn't specifically say it, but you have to put other things together. But I want to show you where in the scriptures it names it as what it is. Nehemiah, the 6th chapter, and we're going to look at verse number 15. This is what it says, verse 15. So the wall was finished in the 25th day of the month Elul. Elul. In 52 days. Now you can go back and read the scripture and put this together, and you could see that this month Elul would be the 6th month. Let's go to the 7th month. We're going to go back to 1 Kings, the 8th chapter. 1 Kings, the 8th chapter. See, these are the months that, and we see that they're telling you in the month, when these months are. 1 Kings, the 8th chapter. We're going to pick this up in verse number, let's see, I believe it's in verse 2. Yes. And all the men of Israel assembled themselves unto King Solomon at the feast in the month Ethanim, which is the 7th month. That's what it was called then. The 7th month, it was Ethanim. That was the 7th month. All right? This is just good information for you to know and understand. Okay? Let's stay in Kings. Let's go back to the 6th chapter, verse 38. 6th chapter, verse 38. So let's go all the way back to the 6th chapter, verse 38. Here we go. And it says, and in the 11th year, in the month Bul, B-U-L, which is the 8th month, was the house finished throughout all the parts thereof, according to the fashion of it. So it was 7 years of the building. So we know that the 8th month is Bul, okay? B-U-L, there it is right there, all right? Bul, month Bul, which is the 8th month. This is good stuff for us to kind of continue to look at and see what's going on here. So the Bible does mention the 9th month in the book of Zechariah and the book of Nehemiah, but it mentions the word the 9th month, but it doesn't tell us what it is. We're going to go to Nehemiah 1:1 and just look at it real quick. Nehemiah 1:1, okay? Real quick. And it says, the words of Nehemiah the son of Hakaliah, and it came to pass in the month, well, here it is, in the month Chislew, in the 9th and the 20th year, was I in the Shushan palace. I hope I'm saying that word right, okay? That was the 9th month, and it's called Chislew, okay? So let's go look at it also in the book of Zechariah, the 7th chapter. So we got the month Chislew, but let's go to Zechariah, the 7th chapter. These are just some of the notes that I took down to best kind of put this together. Zechariah, the 7th chapter, and here it is right here. The 9th month, even in Chislew. So that's the 9th month, which is called Chislew, okay? Just like I said, just some notes that I just kind of put this real quickly together. We're going to go to, I want to go back to the book of Esther, which is the 10th, Esther, the 2nd chapter, the book of Esther. And let's see, in particular, I want to go to verse number 16, I believe I got here, verse 16. This is what it says. And so Esther was taken unto King Ahasuerus into his house royal in the 10th month, which is the month Tebeth. Okay? So that we're getting these names of the months from the scriptures. So, but we know the 10th month would be today, Decem, or December, okay? Just kind of showing you how this goes. Let's go to see if we can get the Zechariah 1. Zechariah 1. Zechariah 1. I'm going to go back to the book of Zechariah 1. And let's look at verse number 7. Upon the 24th day of the 11th month, which is Sabbath. 11th month is Sabbath. Okay? So that's something to take into consideration. Let's go let's go back to Esther 3. There's two verses and two passages in the book of Esther. Let's go to Esther, the 3rd chapter. Esther, the 3rd chapter. And in particular, let's look at verse 7. In the first month, and this is just showing you which is the month Nisan. So you have Abib, but because things had different times, Nisan is also Abib. So in the first month, that is the month of Nisan, and listen to this, in the 12th year of the king of Hazard, they cast pure, that is the lot, before Haman from day to day, from month to month, to the 12th month, that is the month Adar. So we know that the 12th month is the month Adar. But we also know that the first month was also called Abib, and it was also called Nisan. Just so, we have some biblical references. So now we got the 12th month. So we know that there was 12 months because they're talking about what happened for over a 12-month period, from month to month, from the first month, Nisan, all the way to the 12th month. So there's 12 months in a year. Let's go to the 8th chapter of Esther and verse 12. 8th chapter of Esther, verse 12. We're going to show you that again. Esther, the 8th chapter, verse 12. And this is what it says. Upon one day in all the providence of King Ahasuerus, namely upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month Adar. You see what we have there? You got Adar. You go back to the 3rd chapter, and there it is again, 12th month Adar. So we pretty much gave you some scriptural reference of all of those months and showing you what they are and how they came into about and what have you. The main point that we're making is to show you that that what they are called, January, February, March, April, May, we showed you from the dictionary or Google Online how those months got their names. We read them all and where they came from and how they got their names. But we also took you to the scriptures to show you where those names came from. So that is also important. But let's talk about something else. Shout out to Brother Julius in the chat room. How you doing, Brother Julius? Bomb of Gilead radio show. Shout out incidentally to all of our moderators. I see Brother Drake. I seen Brother Brian Johnson. Let me see if there was any others. I think that was it. Thank you, brothers, for coming in on this. So let's look at this. How does this man celebrate their New Year's? They have balls. They dress up. They have balls. They do toast. And I'm talking about, they have a ball drop. They have a ball, which is another word for a party. They have music, just a grand time that they're doing. In some cases, fireworks. And they just really are just celebrating the 4th of July. New Year's. And when we were in the world, when we didn't know what Abib was, or the month Nisan or Abib, we just, this is the beginning of the month to you. It's the first month of the year to you. Notice that the Lord is not giving us any instructions that it's a day to be celebrated. All right, and so I'm making a point here because some people are gonna say, well, does the Bible doesn't say we can't celebrate it? Where there's no law, there's no sin. But I want to bring something out. But first of all, I want to go to Leviticus the 23rd chapter. Leviticus the 23rd chapter, and I'm doing this for a reason. But let's go to Leviticus the 23rd chapter. And when you look at the feast of the Lord, brothers and sisters, you won't find in Leviticus the 23rd chapter, and I'm not going to read it all, but you will find from verse 3 all the way through the end of the chapter, the only thing that it tells us about the first month of the year that we're supposed to be doing, the beginning of the months, the first month of the year, is we're supposed to do this. In the 14th day of the first month at even is the Lord's Passover. On the 15th day of that same month is the Feast of Unleavened Bread. 7 days you got to eat unleavened bread. We don't find any instructions to do anything on the first day of the month, the first month of the year. There's no celebration. The Bible doesn't talk about a celebration. The Lord doesn't talk about a celebration. So some people might say, well, where there's no law, there's no sin. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing saying that we can't do it. Pastor Johnson, there's no law that says you cannot have a party. You cannot have a ball. You cannot have fireworks. You cannot do this stuff. So since there's no law written, we can do it. That's what some people may think. Even those that are coming into the knowledge of the truth that Abib is the first month of the year to you. But is that necessarily true? Does the scripture really say not to do it that way? Yeah, it does. I'm going to take you there right now. We're going to go to the book of Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy, the 12th chapter. Deuteronomy, the 12th chapter. I'm going to lay the groundwork. In the book of Deuteronomy, the children of Israel were surrounded by nations in this particular passage, but we know that throughout Israel's history, they were always surrounded by other nations and other nations who served other gods. They served other gods. Janus is another god. He's the god of the beginning. And there's a way that the pagans worship Janus, the god of the beginning. They did it with celebration. They did it with all of that. They did it with fanfare. But the children of Israel were instructed, when you are surrounded with these nations, and I cause you to come out from among those nations, make sure that you don't celebrate their gods and look at how they celebrate their gods and say, you know what? I want to come and celebrate the God of Israel the way they celebrate their gods. I'm going someplace with this. This is going to rub some people the wrong way. I'm telling you right now, this is going to rub some people the wrong way because some people feel like on Abib the 1st, I want to have a party. I want to do what I used to do when I did not know the truth. I want to do what I used to do on January the 1st. How come we can't have a good time like we did on January the 1st? How come we can't just bring those practices, the partying, having a ball, dressing up, doing a cut countdown. We're not going to do it at 12. We're going to wait till sundown, but we're going to rent a room. We're going to have a party. We're going to have music. We're going to bust the bottles open. We're going to have a fanfare good time. How come I can't do it, Pastor Johnson? It's Abib the first. It's the first month. It's the beginning of the months to you. And I want to practice what I used to do. How come I can't do it? Well, let's go read the scriptures. I'm glad you asked. Listen to this. Deuteronomy, the 12th chapter, verse 29. When the Lord thy God shall cut off the nations from before thee. Let me move that. When the Lord brings you out of darkness into the light, when he brings you out from all of that stuff, whether thou goest to possess them, and thou succeedest them, and dwellest in their land, take heed to thyself that thou be not snared by following them. Don't follow them. Don't follow their practices. Don't do the things that they do. Because I'm giving you holy days. I'm bringing you out of holidays. I'm bringing you into holy days, found in Leviticus, the 23rd chapter. Take heed thyself that thou be not snared by following them. After that they be destroyed from before thee. After the Lord destroys Christmas and Easter and Halloween and all of that stuff, after he takes you out of that you now realize that January the 1st is not the beginning of the months to you. Even the name at first, the name January comes from Janus, which is the God of the beginning, the God of the beginning. I don't want to celebrate Abib the way the pagans do Janus, who is the God of the beginning. I don't want to do that. Why? Take heed, verse 30, to thyself, that thou be not snared by following them, after they be destroyed from before thee, and that thou, listen to this, and that thou inquire not after their gods, saying, how did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise. How did they celebrate the beginning of months? I'm going to do so with Abib. How did they do it? Oh, they had a ball. They had a party. They dressed up. They did a countdown. They had drinking and just a fanfare. I don't want to do what they do, celebrating Janus, the god of January, or Janus, where that name come from. I don't want to do that on Abib. Why? Because the Lord is telling me right here, don't do it. Take heed to thyself that thou be not snared by following them, after that they be destroyed from before thee, and that thou inquire not after their gods, Janus, January, saying, how did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise. Verse 31, thou shalt not do so unto the Lord thy God. Don't do that. Don't add to something that the Lord didn't want you to do. Don't bring in a practice that the Lord didn't want you to do. Thou shalt not do so unto the Lord thy God, for every abomination to the Lord which he hateth have they done to their gods. Don't do it, brothers and sisters. Whatever I command you, Leviticus the 23rd chapter, observe to do it. and thou shalt not add thereto nor diminish it. Brothers and sisters, here we are. Abel, we don't need a New Year's resolution. Our resolution is the commandments of God. We don't have to kiss nobody and bring it in New Year's and let's hug and let's toast and let's dance and let's drink and let's have a party. No. Everybody ain't going to like this lesson that's into the knowledge of the truth. Not all of Hebrew Christians are going to like this lesson. But I'm coming from the Word. I'm reading this from the Word. Deuteronomy, the 12th chapter, 29 through 31. Brothers and sisters, this is our lesson tonight. This is our lesson. It's our lesson. January the 1st on March the 30th, New Year. Which one is it? We know it's March the 30th. I want to say to you all, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like and share this lesson with somebody. Share it with them. I know I might get some emails and people might call me the New Year's Eve party pooper for Abib the First. But I gave you scriptures, brothers and sisters. I gave you scriptures. So that being said and done, make sure you tune in tomorrow night to the Balm of Gilead radio show. Not tomorrow night, Thursday night. Tomorrow night is Wednesday night Q&A. Make sure you turn into that. I know this is going to be good. Some people are going to ask the question. I guarantee you tomorrow night there's going to be a question. Can we celebrate Abib the First? And can we have a party like they do on January, which is the god of Janus? Can we do it? It's going to come up. It's going to come up. And I already know what the answers are going to be. Because in the Israel of God, we all teach from the scriptures. There's only one book. We all teach from the same book. Amen. Led by the same Holy Spirit. That being said, brothers and sisters, thank you for tuning in. Thank all of you. And I want to just say peace and blessings to you all. Love you and all of that good stuff. I really do. I thank you for bearing with me as I have took a few weeks off just to really clean up. I did some cleaning up, and I do some rental property, and I needed to just clean out my truck. You know, just things we got to do. Our prayers are out to those that are up in the Midwest, the snow and the sleet and the ice, the black ice that you go. I used to live in Cleveland, brothers and sisters. I used to live in Lexington, Kentucky, and it's nothing to play with. My prayers are out to you all. When you're below zero in temperature, our prayers are out for you. So that being said, peace and blessings to you all, and we will see you soon. Let the words of your mouth and the meditation of your heart, let it always be acceptable in his sight. The Lord be our strength and our Redeemer. In Jesus' name, God bless you.